You are about to hear one of the worst arguments made by a lawyer regarding the president's power. Donald Trump's lawyer, Alina Habba, has a new crackpot theory on what federal judges can or can't do.
Look at what they're doing, Lake and Riley. It's not okay. And what we've done is removed these individuals from our states. So then to have a federal judge come in and say, hey, I don't agree with the president of the United States with an executive order, it's unthinkable and it's ridiculous.
Is it unthinkable? Because I remember during the Biden years, federal judges were constantly blocking things that the Biden administration was trying to do, from student debt cancellation to different abortion medications to immigration policy. Never once did I hear anyone on the right say, hey, a federal judge can't do that. In fact, they celebrated it. Time after time after time, they cheered on these federal judges for unilaterally blocking the president's authority. And while it was frustrating, you have to also recognize, if you are being objective, that a federal judge can do that, for better or for worse. You don't have to like our system, but that's currently the system we're living in. But now, the right wants to rewrite the rules. They want the president to supersede everybody. They want total unified power in the executive. They don't want any legal checks or balances. And they want to continue deporting people whether they're criminals or not. And now, they're so frustrated, they're calling for these judges to be impeached.
In every executive order, they're trying to find a way to shut any progress that he is making down. And it's kind of like whack-a-mole right now. But in the House of Representatives, we need to do our due diligence and impeach these radical Soros-funded judges. That is our responsibility to the American people and how we uphold the Constitution and truly have a check and balance on the other branches of government.
Wow, you can impeach a judge for an unfavorable opinion? Where was that in the conversation 4 years ago? The right's antics have gotten so bad that Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts came out this week and said that no, that isn't an acceptable recourse. You might think that's just self-preservation because he doesn't want the left coming after him, but still, the highest judge in the land said no, this is not something that you can do. Will the right follow his instructions? Probably not. They still might try. Because one thing's for sure, the Department of Justice at large has been totally corrupted. The entire thing has been politicized. Don't believe me? Here's Attorney General Pam Bondi telling you who she works for.
I am so proud to have a team with Emil and Todd and all of our great team. And we all work for the greatest president in the history of our country. We are so proud to work at the directive of Donald Trump. It is, he will never stop fighting for us, and we will never stop fighting for him.
Now that is a significant departure from past attorneys general. They've always at least tried to maintain independence from the president. While they were appointed and they work in the administration, there's always been some firewall, and that led many people in the last term to be frustrated with Merrick Garland for not being more aggressive. And Biden took a hands-off approach. Now again, that is frustrating, but it's good when you have a system of checks and balances. But what the right is doing here is further eroding away at our democracy. They're trying to undermine core institutions, past practices, standards, protocols to serve at Trump's behest. And even in circumstances where federal judges have tried to intervene, Trump administration officials are saying they're just going to ignore these orders. Here's Tom Homan.
Trump has made a promise to American people. We're going to make this country safe again. I wake up every morning loving my job because I work for the greatest president in the history of my life, and we're going to make this country safe again. I'm proud to be a part of this administration. We're not stopping. I don't care what the judges think. I don't care what the left thinks. We're coming.
Yeah. I just love seeing you going through these protesters just crunching on the apple as their liberal tears just flood the hallway.
God, could they do a single interview without kissing his ass? The love for Trump from some of these people can't be that strong. It's all just an act, right? That is just so humiliating to be that much of an ass kisser. But the real issue here is that yes, he's going to ignore the courts and just do what he wants. And that is a constitutional crisis. We're living in one right now. Whether the mainstream media wants to admit it or not, we are living in one. When you have the executive branch openly saying they are going to ignore court orders, that is a constitutional crisis. We're not inching toward one. We're not getting closer to one. We're living in it now. And many of these people that they're deporting aren't even criminals. They're relying on very flimsy justification to round up and deport some of these people. Things like what tattoos they have. But Trump's spokesperson, Caroline Leavitt, says it's all rooted in intelligence.
What criteria, though, other than, say, tattoos or maybe being in the wrong place at the wrong time, are they using to determine that someone is actually a member of one of these organizations?
Intelligence and the men and women on the ground in the interior of our country who are finally being allowed to do their jobs. Their hands were tied under the previous administration, and as I said, they take their jobs very seriously. They should be trusted and respected by the American public with this operation. And of course, as I said to Kelly, the administration will provide all details to the questions that the court poses.
Yes, intelligence. When has U.S. intelligence ever led us astray? And more seriously, they're stripping people of their due process rights. For the alleged party of law and order, you would think that they would at least pretend to care about this stuff. But watch as Jeanine Pirro continues to move the goalposts as she is confronted with the reality of what Trump's administration is doing.
I'm not adamant on this. I'm just saying, if you don't believe in due process anymore, then be honest about it, because that's what's going on here.
The only due process I believe in is the legal way to enter this country.
But claiming asylum is legal.
Yeah, but only if you do the legal process.
But they
you
tried,
don't come
and then
illegally.
they're being disappeared from their court hearing.
They're being disappeared. Americans are being disappeared.
So right now, of course, we need judges to be firm in their analysis and in their rulings. We need to see swift enforcement of these rulings. While it's a long shot, we need the right to actually respect these rulings. But we also need the media to be accurate in their framing. Because right now, we are living in a constitutional crisis, and very few outlets are willing to talk about that. They're trying to dance around the harsh realities of it. In part, I think, because they're scared of Trump. They've watched as their peers or colleagues or other similar media institutions were hit with baseless lawsuits that they ended up just settling with Trump. They don't want to be on the hook for tens of millions of dollars in legal fees and settlements, so they're just going to wink and nod at a very real issue facing our democracy. This is not to say that all reporters and all media outlets are culpable. Here's an example of Casey Hunt pushing back on Stephen Miller.
Is Venezuela invading our country in a way that would apply this way?
So I'll answer yours and you'll answer mine. Under the terms of the statute, Tren de Aragua is an alien enemy force that has come here as detailed at length in the proclamation at the direction of the Venezuelan government. The statute says that a president has the ability to repel an invasion or predatory incursion that is directed by a foreign
state
government.
or a government, right? Are they a state or a government?
This would be, yes, it is documented that TDA was sent by the Venezuelan government in the proclamation. And here's an even more important point. Under the Constitution, who makes that determination? A district court judge elected by no one, or the commander-in-chief of the Army and Navy?
We definitely need much more of that, but we also need to support independent media who are willing to do that routinely, not just once in a while. And this channel, Rebel Headquarters, is always going to hold the powerful to account. We're always going to tell you like it is. And we certainly are not going to shy away from criticizing the Trump administration. Be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.